There hasn't been anyone to match Piastri for 3 rounds now, but the time has come to update. For many, it's their last chance for 2025. Welcome then to the 7th round of the Formula 1 World Championship, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We've reached one of the 2 critical points of the season, the start of the European Tour and with it, the update or die moment. This round can change the championship course for many or end their chances. It will be at the legendary Imola Autodrome, which could see Formula 1 for the last time in perhaps a long time. If it must say goodbye, it will do so spectacularly, offering some their final opportunity to get back on track. Before 2026, Red Bull is chasing McLaren, Ferrari aims to recover, and Mercedes seeks victory. And all those options are played directly on this beautiful Italian circuit. Many are playing their all or nothing here. And if Red Bull and Verstappen want that 5th title more than ever, they are forbidden to fail in Italy. Let's start with the preview of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix 2025 of Formula 1. On the Anaquante, yun din apidas kadisi kayon. Six races have passed, where only once in the year McLaren has been defeated. This Grand Prix is special as it will determine if any team is capable of defeating it with the arrival of major updates. And also knowing that the regulatory change is coming, making this Grand Prix where many are at stake, most of their 2025. With all that scenario, with the updates and seeing that in a few days we will have the regulatory change with the issue of flexible wings. The outlook is unbeatable for the first race of this new triplet of the season. So, to start with this preview, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get to know the venue that will bring to life the 7th round of the Formula 1 World Championship. Emilia Romagna, Italy. Its circuit is the Enzo Edino Ferrari, located in the Imola region, built in 1952, 4.9 kilometers of track, 63 laps, 18 turns. A single drag reduction system zone and only one potential area to attempt any overtaking maneuver. Characterized as a permanent track with demanding curves, challenging but above all, old school, and that does not allow much margin for error. The first sector is the fastest of the 3, having only 5 curves and a long straight. This is the only drag reduction system activation point on the entire circuit. It is activated just before the sector starts and extends throughout this speed zone until the braking of curve 1, thus providing the only clear overtaking zone that this track gives you. Where in this particular part of the circuit, not only speed matters, but also brakes and a correct line to face the curves. Of Tamburello or Gilles Villeneuve. It's not a technical part, but in race development, it's the most key sector, especially when it comes to battles. The second sector is the one with the most curves, and therefore where aspects such as brakes, car stability and cornering are most tested. The turns in this part of the track are very treacherous and the track limits are extremely tight, where each curve makes you push them to the limit, and with that the risk of some kind of penalty increases. The Pirettel curve is the fastest in this part and the rest of the sector. They are precision curves requiring good brakes and traction. So more than ever, on this track, the car's aerodynamic support becomes evident. And if in the first part we talked about needing a perfect line in these curves, in this one it has to even reach the range of prodigious. Thus this sector puts cars through the most rigorous technical testing, and where some of the most beautiful curves are found, perhaps in the entire Formula 1 calendar. And the third is a small combination of both sectors. It only has 5 curves, where 14 and 15 are especially important, known as the Alta variant. Definitely the most difficult curve of the circuit, a low-speed chicane where the curbs are very high, with the limit very close, which punishes the brakes and traction. But above all, those who struggle to correctly trace this curve and have to go long through the escape route. Aside from that, the straights it has are not very long, but it constantly punishes the brakes. And pay special attention to the curve that leads into the main straight. Because when it comes to battles, getting out of this curve well is what gives you a minimal chance to make some overtaking maneuver against rivals. Imola is an old-school circuit, narrow with beautiful and challenging curves, punishing of mistakes and extremely fast. It's one of those tracks that there are few left in the current Formula 1 calendar. And as I told you in the introduction, we could be facing the last opportunity to see the Formula 1 on this circuit for a very long time. And in summary, in the first sector, the most important element is speed and brakes. In the second, the aerodynamic support and cars cornering are the most important elements. And in the third, brakes and traction, which will be punished in the high variant and in the Rivazza curves. Other data to consider. The safety car officially entered Formula 1 in 1994. That circuit has hosted 17 Formula 1 races under the name San Marino Grand Prix and Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It has only come out 7 times in all of these. So the probability of a safety car is really low, just 41%, so a neutralization with this device is unlikely. But believe me, if it does come out, it's a key to cutting a lot of time when it comes to stops. Statistically, Tamburello is the most dangerous point on the track. In fact, most of the safety cars that have come out have been due to incidents in battle or on the lap. One, but directly on this curve, when overtaking a rival with the limited space available on this part of the track. A wrong move can cause an accident, or a braking overrun at the exit can cause absolute chaos. The curve itself is not difficult or dangerous as it was before, but the context is what makes it the most dangerous area of this entire circuit. Traction is not a heavily punished element in this circuit, and the brakes are put to the test, but they are not a crucial element when it comes to configurations. This is because there are not many slow curves that punish the exit and therefore require traction. Teams usually opt for medium aerodynamic load setups on their cars to achieve a balance. This allows the car to feel good on the fast curves, but not lose out on the long main straight and the speed sections that the circuit has. But the most important thing is that overtaking on this track is extremely complicated. It only has one drag reduction system zone, and with that, it only has one key point for overtaking, which is located in the combination of the main straight, along with the braking of turn 1. To have a minimal chance, you need to come out of the Rivazza curve with better traction than your opponent. 2. Have more speed than the other car, follow it all along this straight, and overtake by being brave in turn number 1. The advantage can be gained inside or outside, but the narrow area makes it easy to be pushed off the track. The disadvantage, even with drag reduction system, if the car ahead has higher speed, peak, or is less loaded aerodynamically, it's very difficult to make an overtaking maneuver if there isn't a condition of tire wear. So it's not easy, and more than ever, knowing how to nail the car in turn 1 and being brave. It's necessary in order to overtake here. So then, on a scale of 1 to 5, the difficulty to overtake is a resounding 4.5, very complicated. This circuit demands strong qualifying performance, as overtaking is extremely challenging here. In the Imola pit lane, you drive at 80 km per hour, being fast transit, but it is one of the slowest on the calendar. Its entrance and exit are right next to the straight, so it doesn't require sudden deviations. But since the pit lane is so long, a stop with everything and detention is completed in about 29 or 30 seconds. So the teams prioritize stopping only once in the entire race or trying to make some detention. In virtual safety car or in safety car? The tire wear on this circuit is moderate. The track's abrasiveness is average, causing some degradation. It suffers evenly from asphalt abrasion, rubber stress, and lateral loads. In previous years, races could be completed with one stop. This year might be different. Pirelli will bring its softest tire range, the C4 and C5 tires, to this circuit. Pirelli has officially launched the C6 tire, the softest tire in their entire range. And that could give life to a much more difficult race in terms of degradation. We could say goodbye to Imola after this year's edition, but what it has in its hands is the chance to go out big. With all the context of the updates, the changes that could be on the grid, at least the possibility exists that Imola could give a good race. This beautiful circuit features fast curves and elevation changes, but it's undeniable that overtaking is very difficult here. So the drivers need to do a good classification to avoid getting into trouble on race day. Maximize their setup and try to win from the front positions. Fiesta maintains its dominant pace, securing 4 wins this season and increasing its lead. But critical races are coming up for McLaren because in Imola all teams are going to mount updates. And in Spain will come D-Day, which will test whether the new flexible wing regulations nerf them or definitely does nothing to them. So even though McLaren is the clear dominator of Formula 1, anything can happen from now on. And McLaren shouldn't be so confident from now on. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the one-by-one of teams and drivers of this Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at the Imola circuit. Woking's team maintains its dominant pace, sweeping the entire Miami weekend without giving rivals any chances. But the day is approaching when the regulations against flexible wings will be tightened in Spain. To which, at least officially, McLaren is not afraid. However, there is also the possibility that this regulation will not affect them. Because where they are winning with extreme authority over their rivals is in tire management. More precisely, it seems that this team has found a way, with the brake drum, to have greater control over the rear wheels, with the issue of temperature. With this, they prevent overheating and better control wear and improve their traction. And all the teams in Prix are completely desperate, looking for the trick to stop the Woking team as soon as possible, and prevent it from continuing to escape in the drivers' and constructors' tables. McLaren will bring its first major upgrade package, aiming to maximize the speed of its car, make it as docile to handle as possible, and prepare for the regulations in Spain. And taking into account the characteristics of the track, the use of the softest tire for this circuit, and that the McLaren continues to be the strongest car. They are back to being favorites this weekend. But all we can do is see if they have the same strength that we saw in them at the Miami Grand Prix, especially when they update their single-seater. Mercedes, after 6 races, will introduce its first significant upgrade package at Imola to improve control in tire degradation and temperature. This is what has primarily weighed them down in early 2025. And as reported by the Autoracerit portal, the expected improvements are redesigned rear air intakes, an updated floor, modifications to the diffuser, and some mechanical improvements. If the updates work, it should allow the teams in the foreground to get closer to Red Bull and challenge them. Russell stated that the only way to catch up to McLaren is if the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile makes them remove something from their car. And, as far as is known, at least with the issue of how controversial the brake system is, the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile deems it clever and legal, and they are not expected to ban its use starting from the Imola competition. So Russell believes that the updates will not be enough to defeat the Woking team. Much of Mercedes' hopes for this season rest on this Grand Prix. So all that remains to be seen is whether the updates will help the team move forward. Alternatively, will they remain behind Red Bull and McLaren? Meanwhile, Andrea Kimi Antonelli races in his home country this weekend. And with the motivation that comes from racing before his home crowd, he will seek a great result that will help him continue to improve his form and confidence aboard the W16. Probably one of Red Bull's breaking points in this season has arrived, where Helmut Marko noted that this could be the time to face McLaren, although it seems quite complicated at first glance, if we look at it now. Red Bull brought upgrades for Verstappen's car in Miami, but the full package is expected at the upcoming Grand Prix. The focus is expected to be on enhancing the car's balance to perform well on all circuit types. But mainly, it is known that Red Bull is working on an improvement of their brake drums, trying to emulate what McLaren does with theirs, and that allows the team to catch up with them. But the great hopes for that 5th title of Max Verstappen rely on this package working, and that McLaren is heavily hit by Spain's regulations. Christian Horner, team principal, noted that the European Tour can benefit them as the climate and circuits are less harmful to the RB. 21 is not expecting a miracle and knows that McLaren is going to continue to be hard to beat, so the omens are not good. But we'll have to see if they can pull something out of the hat, and considering Max Verstappen's form in qualifying at this circuit and in Monaco, that strength could give them a chance to win and continue minimizing the damage until they find solutions that allow them to attack McLaren. Ferrari continues to cling to their car and believe they are still capable of unleashing the potential of the red single-seater, which has taken a huge step back this season. However, they know and are aware that in the short term it looks very complicated to find the pace and cure the car's ailments. It appears that 2025 will not be the year when Ferrari can finally break their streak of not winning any titles since 2008. Their main issue appears to be the car's difficulty with balance and achieving optimal performance. Ends up weighing them down, especially in qualification. According to some media, they began to report that Ferrari is going to bring updates that will be distributed in these next 3 Grand Prix. Although Ferrari has stated they will continue updating the car throughout the season, it's unclear how they can turn around their current situation. And this weekend they race at the racetrack that bears the name of the founder and son of Ferrari. But even though they are racing at home, to be honest, it looks very difficult for them to get a great result under normal conditions. Williams delivered another masterclass performance in Miami, enabling them to regain 5th place in the constructors' standings with valuable points. But Miami has also let us see. The car appears more robust and stable in hot conditions, on fast tracks, and with low aerodynamic load. Williams' upcoming Grand Prix updates will likely be the last major ones before they fully focus on their 2016 car. In Imola, they are once again expected to be among the favorites to score points. The predictions are quite positive at this point, but we'll see if they achieve it. Haas will bring updates this weekend with a very clear goal to achieve. Minimize the car's rebound issue that has hindered their performance in some races, making them stronger contenders. Mid-table and more regular. Haas is anticipating a major victory this weekend. Less complicated, but with the problem they suffer with the tires and not so smooth asphalt. And without that update installed, at least for now, it is intuited that they may have a complicated fight to be able to get into the points this weekend. So all we have left is to see if that update works. It helps them take that step forward and be clear contenders against Grace's Williams team, 5th position in the Constructors' Championship. Another team that basically stakes 80% of their season on this Grand Prix is Aston Martin. They aim to reverse their current championship situation with the improvements they will bring. Having a car that only scores in chaotic conditions, a car with poor qualifying pace and slow on the straights. However, efforts are ongoing to develop a package that addresses the issues of the RM25. However, Aston Martin is not anticipating any miracles to occur, and the only certainty is that if the improvements do not work, it is very likely that Aston Martin will completely turn towards 2026, so for now, points should continue to be difficult to achieve for the Aston Martin team. But we will have to see if those improvements work and can give that little jump they urgently need this season. Racing Bulls is not going to fall behind this weekend. An update is anticipated for the lower parts and body of the car, aiming to enhance its aerodynamic performance as it is fast. Despite their potential, they faced correlation issues, hindering maximum performance. Imola will reveal if the new package improves the situation. Because the Racing Bulls want to have that working window that allows them to storm the middle of the grid and jump from the position they are currently in. Ladies and gentlemen, Argentina returns to the Formula 1 grid, and this time with the Alpine team, as Franco Colapinto will replace Jack Dujan starting from Imola, and at least for the next 5 races on the calendar, in a move that was a complete earthquake for Alpine. It was about both the arrival of Colapinto and Oliver Oakes, the team principal, resigned from his position due to a personal situation involving Russian money laundering, the arrest of his brother, and the high-tech team. And with his resignation, they have once again put Flavio Briatore in that team principal's seat, who will supposedly only take on the role of team principal for a few races. Speaking again about the Argentine driver, making his debut now is a huge opportunity for him, as he will race in 5 Grand Prix at circuits he already knows and has had past successes at. This can greatly reduce his adaptation time to his new car. He will need to maximize his potential quickly, similar to what he achieved at Williams in 2024. So there is a lot of expectation around Alpine about how this change will work. But in reality, like other teams, they anticipate enhancements for this Grand Prix. And Imola could be a track that suits the French structure very well and that allows it to achieve a good result, which takes it out of that 9th place. As usual, there's little to say about Sauber. It's still unclear if they will introduce any improvement package, or if literally they have already thrown everything to go towards 2026. What is known, according to Jonathan Whitley, is that Sauber is waiting for the technical regulations from Spain to make a leap and have a chance to get out of the bottom. The team principal's final statement, as relayed by Jonathan Whitley, is that the car will have some improvements. Despite expecting some upgrades, it seems difficult for them to climb out of the bottom positions unless something unexpected occurs at the Imola circuit. So their only real chance is to be able to make a leap forward when the technical regulations from Spain arrive. As for the weather, for this race weekend, according to the weather report, rain will not make an appearance on any of the 3 days, with just a 15% chance of rain. Temperatures are expected to range between 21 and 23 degrees this weekend, with slightly cloudy skies but no other weather surprises. So ladies and gentlemen, prepare for a sunny weekend, with no threat of rain and therefore no surprises in the sky. For this 7th round of the Formula Y World Championship, finally, in this preview folks, it's time for the historical data section of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. So you can take some trivia home from this weekend's races. The original Autodromo di Castellaccio, renamed to Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari, is a racing circuit. Born in 1952, which over the years has hosted Grand Prix with up to 3 different names. In 1980, it hosted the Italian Grand Prix for the first and only time instead of Monza. From 1981 to 2006, it hosted the San Marino Grand Prix, which carried this name. Not because the track is in San Marino, but to not break the rule that there can only be 1 Grand Prix per country. And since there couldn't be 2 Italian Grand Prix in one season, at least by name, and since 2020, which was when this circuit returned to the calendar. To date, it has hosted the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, which is named in honor of the region where the race takes place. Only 2 Italian drivers in all of history have managed to win at home in this Formula One competition. In 1985, Elio De Angelis was the winner aboard his Lotus Renault, and in 1990. Riccardo Patrese, a driver for the Williams team, was the one who emerged victorious by conquering this test. So for now, these 2 are the only Italian drivers who have been able to win in front of their home crowd on this track. Although, of course, Ferrari has done it on numerous occasions. In fact, Williams and Ferrari are the most successful teams in this Grand Prix history, with 8 victories each. Tying them in this statistic of winners on this circuit, particularly within the formula, the fastest lap in the race is currently held by Lewis Hamilton, who set the record in 2020, with a time of 1:15.484 on board the W11Y. The podium of historical winners of this Grand Prix are tied with 3 victories each: Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost and Max Verstappen. And the ultimate king of Imola is Michael Schumacher, with 7 victories obtained from 1994 to the year 2006. These being the historical data of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix and of this circuit in Soetino, Ferrari. With that, we conclude the preview of the 2025 Formula One Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. But this is where I ask you, what do you think of this circuit? Do you like it to stay on the calendar, or do you not mind that it probably leaves the same? Who do you think will get it right with their improvement package? And of course, let me know who you think will be the top 3 drivers to occupy the podium at the end of this Sunday's Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Let me know all your opinions in the comments section. I'll sign off by saying that if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so you know when I'm uploading a new video, and share this with your friends. I also invite you to follow us on our Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the video description. And see you this Sunday, for the summary at the end of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Thank you for tuning in, and see you later. Thank you.